the regular season. Once again, a capacity crowd on. Yankees have won 12.
.95 ERA. The scouting report on the Southpaw brought to you by Nissan. Look at that. Look at the numbers here at the stadium. Very effective in using both sides of the plate. He really is. He'll paint that outside corner and the inside corner. 7 home runs allowed, all solo shots. Talked about his stuff in the opening. Fastball, as our scouting report said, both sides of the plate. He has a cutter, overhand curveball, straight change, and with pretty good control.
And the defense behind him, brought to you by Pennsylvania Tourism. Well, there he is. If the Mets are around, you know, Luis Sojo is going to find the spot. Tonight it's at first base. The second baseman is Alfonso Soriano. At third base, Scott Brocious, who has made 17 errors this year, atypical of Brocious. And at shortstop, he will be going to the All-Star game, but then again, aren't just about all of the Yankees. Derek Jeter. In the outfield, Chuck Knobloch is in left. Bernie Williams is in center, as hot a hitter as there's been in baseball for about a month now. And in right field, reacquired recently by the Yankees, Gerald Williams. Jorge Posada will do the catching as Andy Pettitte gets set to make his 16th start of the year. It's his second start since coming off the disablement. He aggravated an existing groin injury in his start against the Mets at Shea Stadium on June 15th, and he lasted only 3 1/3. In the leadoff spot once again, Joe McEwen, who has an 8-game hitting streak. Bobby Valentine has had him in there at one position or another every day lately, trying to take advantage of the fact that McEwen actually has the hottest bat among all of the New York Mets right now. And so Pettitte delivers the first pitch, and he misses the outside corner with his fastball 1-0.
Boy, McEwen does it the hard way. It's tough for him, first off, to get in the big league. Second off, to impress a manager, to become a starting player. But he seems to fight his way into a lineup, and it's tough to remove him.
He checked his swing, or at least tried to, but home plate up Larry Young said he went around it, so it's 1-1. You know, Fran, McEwen had a real good year with the Cardinals 2 years ago, unable to hold his swing there. And then he winds up getting traded for Jesse Orosco last spring, having to fight his way into a roster spot after the season started.
And when you really think about it, Jesse was at the end of his career, and they gave up McEwen, who was, it was a bad public relations move in St. Louis. They liked him a lot, the fans in St. Louis. So when they traded him, Tony La Russa raved about him, said it was a difficult trade. Bobby Valentine feels the same way about McEwen.
And the proof, the fact that Steve Phillips, the guy who went out and got him, perhaps looking to make another move. Bobby Valentine have him in there every day. Fouled away 2-2.
You know, he's a manager's delight. Managers like players that allow them to manage. He can bat pretty much any place in the lineup. He plays an awful lot of positions and does it in a nice fashion. He's not going to hurt you, usually won't hurt you defensively, and he's a spark plug.
Upstairs with that breaking ball and a full count now to McEwen. And of course, you saw Bobby Valentine a moment ago, and you'll see a variety of expressions from him throughout this game. But one that's been a constant all year has been exasperation over opportunities that were not cashed in. One of the reasons McEwen's in there, because he's been hitting the ball. Right there, he hits it foul, and the count's still full.
Yeah, we have talked about that. When a ball club struggles, you don't see managers looking for leather. They're looking for lumber. They want offensive players in their lineup. It's a pretty good battle going on right now for the first at bat of the game between Andy Pettitte and Joe McEwen.
So again, a payoff pitch. And this one hit weakly to Brocious. One away. So McEwen grounds to third for the first out. Let's take a closer look at our pitching matchup. It's brought to you by the New York Marriott Marquis, Broadway's biggest hit.
Leiter against the Yankees, 4-6 in 11 starts. Pettitte 2-2 in 6 starts. Now Leiter started his major league career right here in the Bronx as a member of these Yankees. And he experienced some trouble with blisters and a little bit of arm trouble. Ended up away from the Yankees.
Went to the Toronto Blue Jays, and now Edgardo Alfonso takes a strike.
Well, one thing the Yankees have probably economized on over the years is patience. Although that's a very patient manager right there. Joe Torre, he's very good.
0-2 to Alfonso. So Andy Pettitte quickly getting ahead of the Mets second baseman, who's 1 for 9 since coming off the DL. And O'Neill, the opposite of a patient hitter or patient person, has not hit Leiter well. Most left-handed hitters don't. So O'Neill and Tino Martinez, spectators at the start tonight.
O'Neill is a patient hitter. He's just not patient when he makes a mistake or makes an out. And he's quite a character to watch. Would remind you a little bit of Lou Piniella when Lou used to make outs. In fact, he played for Lou in Cincinnati. Lou Piniella said he was going to work with him, make him a home run hitter. He said he's going to hate me, but he's going to be a home run hitter.
Alfonso lays off the high fastball, confirmed by Andy Fletcher at first, and the count 2-2.
Well, after Lou worked with him, he didn't like Lou, and he didn't become a home run hitter either. Up high and out of the strike zone.
Yeah, Lou said, that's too much work. Get him out of here.
Turned out to be a great trade for the Yankees, but how about Alfonso, homegrown by the Mets?
And the breaking ball gets him. Wow. So Alfonso caught looking, 2 men away.
Mel Stoudemire very high on the left-hander. One of the reasons, the cutter. Is this a strike? It's a strike. It's that high strike, but it's a strike. Fonzie starts, ball breaks, checks the swing. That cutter's a tough pitch. Now, you got 2 pitchers pitching tonight who rely an awful lot on the cutter. Mike Piazza receiving a reaction.
Mike's first game in a week. And Pettitte misses with a fastball 1-0. Piazza missed a total of 5 games, fracturing the big toe on his left foot. He fouled the ball right off of that foot in Atlanta.
That was a pretty good shot there when he got out and he hit the spikes with his bat. He did it gingerly.
1 ball, 1 strike.
He almost caught himself. Like, you look at there, he's got the big toe covered, but he stepped out of that batter's box, hit his foot with the bat. I got to believe he thought, you know, what am I doing here? I'm hitting my foot with a bat. You know, players are creatures of habit. A lot of times you get in the batter's box, even if there's not dirt on your spikes, your habit is to tap the spikes with your bat.
Fisted foul back behind the Yankee dugout, and the count 1-2 to Piazza. Todd Seal waiting on deck.
You know, I look at Mike Piazza at the plate, and I think of all the great Italian players who played their careers here in New York at Yankee Stadium.
Ross Machito is the caddy for Mickey Mantle. And Piazza down on strikes, the side retired. So a good start for Andy Pettitte. A ground ball and a couple of strikeouts. Let's see what Al Leiter faces as Joe Torre presents this Yankee batting order. For game 1 of this 3-game series, it's brought to you by Budweiser. Knobloch, Jeter, Bernie Williams, Spencer the DH, Posada, Gerald Williams, and then Brocious Soho playing first base tonight. And Soriano and Bernie Williams, ever since the beginning of June, has been probably the toughest out in all of baseball. One of the assignments for Al Leiter, who gets set to make his 14th start of the year.
Well, 63 strikeouts this season for Al Leiter. First inning has certainly been a battle. As you look at our McDonald's scouting report, Mets 2-0 at Yankee Stadium with the Mets. He had success since leaving the Yanks, and if you watch him tonight, the difference between him and Andy Pettitte will work that outside of the plate more than Al. But when Al's on, he has a smaller break, a quicker break on his slider and his cutter. If he has the big breaking slider and cutter, he's ineffective.
Knobloch takes on the inside corner.
All hitters going up against Al Leiter are thinking open up, because 80% of his pitches when he's effective are from the middle of the plate in, as opposed to Pettitte, who can use the whole plate. They're going inside again.
And Leiter misses.
Take a look at Al Leiter's motion, and it's relatively compact. He drives right at the hitter, and he's got a strong arm. Watch him open up.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Knobloch.
And that's why Al could be pretty effective if he goes away occasionally.
He's ahead of Knobloch 1-2 and strikes him out, 1 man down.
That's an indication that Al Leiter has good stuff, because he's got that quick break on the slider.
Defense brought to you by New York Lottos. Healy is at first with Alfonso at second. The third baseman is Robin Ventura. And at shortstop, it's Ray Ordonez. In the outfield for the Mets, Benny Akbayani is at left, with Jay Payton in center. And around in right tonight, it's Joe McEwen. Todd Pratt does the catching. Piazza serving as the designated hitter. And now Derek Jeter. And the breaking ball, 0-1.
Jeter has been struggling. Maybe not struggling. He's having a somewhat of a subpar season. Not the way he played in the past. And of course, you're always judging players on their offense. His defense has been pretty steady.
And Jeter, one of those 7 selections made by Joe Torre, one of the more controversial ones as he takes inside when you consider that Miguel Tejada of the Oakland A's has put up better numbers from a power standpoint, run producing standpoint, but then again Jeter's hitting about 30 points higher. So yeah, I think some of Torre's decisions were at least in total excessive, but you can make a pretty good case for just about every one of them.
I would do it if I was managing the club and my club was in first place. I'm going to live with these players, and if it's somewhat justifiable, you go with it.
Line to center, a base hit for Jeter. And the Yankees have the first base runner of the night, a 1-out single. So where does Derek Jeter sit among our Mercedes-Benz League leaders? Right in the driver's seat since '97.
912. In fact, he gives a lot of credit to Gary Denbo, the batting coach with the Yankees. In fact, take a look at this swing. He stays behind that ball. Boy, well, look at that head right down on the ball, and he drives the ball into center field. There's the batting instructor right there. Now, when Derek Jeter was out last year and he went down to Tampa, he worked with him. When he came back, he gave him a lot of credit. He said, I got my swing back because of Gary Denbo. Now, the batting instructor at the time was Chris Chambliss. That's a slap in the face to Chris Chambliss.
And then this year, when the Yankees and Bernie Williams, the whole crew went to Detroit, Don Mattingly, who helps out in spring training, was at Comerica Park at the request of Joe Torre, not so much to work with Gary Denbo, but just to sort of serve as a sounding board to some of the Yankee hitters. Bernie Williams to the hole. Ordonez, no play. It's an infield hit for Bernie Williams, and the Yankees have 2 on with 1 out.
Well, nice play by Ordonez, keep the ball in the infield, but Jeter can run, can't get him. So Bernie Williams believes in Wee Willie Keeler. Hit them where they ain't. But you see Ordonez, nice shot right there of Ordonez gloving that ball, but Jeter beating the throw to second base. Bernie Williams with an infield hit, and the Yankees have runners on first and second with 1 out.
And Bernie Williams has now been a base runner in 40 consecutive games.
Yeah, he's on fire with that bat.
Well, Shane Spencer is not. He's just 3 for his last 26, although when Leiter faced the Yankees last month at Shea Stadium, Spencer hit a home run against him. And that was Spencer's 2nd game since coming back to the Yankees after having rehabbed a knee injury.
And when you walk into the ballpark and you see yourself batting cleanup, that's a confidence booster.
On the inside corner. 0-1 to Spencer.
Let's flash back to when Spencer went deep. You can see the ball out over the plate. And Spencer got all of it. The home run coming off Al Leiter.
And the 0-1 on the outside corner, and Leiter ahead, 0-2.
That was a good pitch right there. You saw Bernie Williams get jammed and still get a base hit. So Al Leiter gets a strike on Spencer and throws that fastball away. Spencer takes it.
Infield at double play depth, and Spencer fouls the 0-2 back to the screen. See the Mets outfield there too. They generally, and a lot of teams will in this ballpark because of its size, have to shorten up. Jay Payton likes to play shallow in center. Agbayani fairly shallow in left. And the Mets set up a double play depth on the infield too. Leiter ahead here at 0-2 with 1 out, 2 on. Al's ready. And now he'll just check the runner Jeter back to second. So again, Leiter ready. Alfonso made a move towards the bag. Now he's ready, and the pitch is bounced into the seats.
Well, Leiter got Spencer to pull that ball. He was way out in front. A pretty good time right now to go away from Spencer. As I mentioned earlier, You discuss this in a clubhouse, and they tell you, I'll guarantee it, be aware of the middle of the plate inward. There he goes away, and Spencer fouls it off. But they talk about it all the time in the clubhouse, and I guarantee you they're all looking middle of the plate in. Right-handed hitter, so you got to mix it up. Fouls the ball off. An uncomfortable looking swing, so he stays alive, breaking his bat. Different colored bat. Those things all have to be approved by rules committee. When you put a different shade on a glove or a bat, the manufacturer has to get it approved by Major League Baseball.
Just an old-fashioned redwood.
Yeah, remember the old days where everybody had the same colored bat?
Wasn't as much money in that.
No.
Still 0-2. Spencer's fouled a couple off. Leiter ready. And he delivers. Wild pitch. And that'll move the runners up. So now second and third with one out. The double play possibility taken away on a ground ball.
Well, Al Leiter just let this baby fly. When you're down there with that, look how low that target is. It's tough to go upstairs. Look at good velocity, and he just couldn't get that glove up there on time.
So it is scored a wild pitch. You're going to look a lot closer on the replay looking from center field than it would have looking from behind home plate.
Yeah, you can, you know, if you want, you could score the pass ball, but it's difficult to get that low target and go that low upstairs with the ball thrown about 95 miles an hour.
So the infield set back for the time being. Now they creep up on the right side, and again Spencer pulls it foul.
One thing official scorers don't take into consideration is the target the catcher's giving. Todd Pratt gives a low target. And as you see, the 13 starts this season, Leiter allowing 9 runs. But you know, Joe Donnelly, the official scorer tonight, a lot of times it's difficult. They're not looking at the target.
Way outside, 2-2.
It used to be if the ball didn't hit the dirt, it was a pass ball. If it hit the dirt, it was a wild pitch.
So Charlie Huff monitoring Al Leiter. Mets have scored fewer runs than any team in the majors. So these first innings by the opposition, very important. And Spencer holds his swing, and that runs the count full.
Well, you got Posada on deck, and you have Spencer the hitter. You got to pitch to Spencer. You got to give him something in the strike zone. You got to get him out. You don't want to load him up for Posada.
It was 0-2. Now it's full with runners at second and third. Payoff pitch on the way. And he swung at ball 4.
Yeah, he swung at ball 4. Once again, an example of that slider. As a hitter, you get keyed up. Now, look at those hands. The hands, the kick, he's coming out. So he's not going to be able to check the swing there. That ball was a bad ball, bad breaking ball, so he went right through it to swing, and luckily for Spencer, made contact.
This duel has reached his 11th pitch. Spencer ready. Leiter deals. And he walked him. Well, you give Spencer a lot of credit there because Leiter got ahead 0-2, and Shane Spencer fouled off some pretty tough pitches.
And he's been struggling. He's been struggling, and he worked the walk. So now, Charlie Huff will go out and talk to Al Leiter. Todd Pratt is talking to Leiter and Alfonso. We're talking about how Spencer is not hot. Look at Posada. 5 home runs, 27 RBIs. Look at the 402 in his last 82 at-bats. He's an excellent hitting catcher. Bernie Williams is on fire, but the guy at the plate, he's batting with the bases loaded.
And he has 2 grand slams this year. One against Baltimore, one against Toronto. There's Jeter at third with Bernie Williams at second. Shane Spencer at first. The bases loaded with the Yankees here in the first inning. Posada, a .438 hitter with runners in scoring position. The infield set back looking for 2. And a bouncer through the hole. In comes Jeter. Here comes Bernie Williams. He'll be held up now as the throw from Agbayani. Perfect to the plate. An RBI single by Jorge Posada. And the Yankees lead 1-0. They still have the bases loaded.
Well, we talked about how hot Posada is. Al Leiter walking Spencer. Look what Posada does. It was interesting to watch him bring those hands in towards his body and still get the head of the bat out there. And Phenia wisely charging that ball because he charges so aggressively. He kept Bernie Williams at third. Look at Bernie Williams rounding third base, but he had a hold on as Willie Randolph realized that Agbayani charged the ball aggressively.
So they're still loaded. And now it's Gerald Williams. Just 0 for 2 since coming back to the Yankees last week after being released by Tampa Bay. Leiter deals in the dirt. And it's funny, Fran, Leiter was ahead of Shane Spencer 0-2. The wild pitch seemed to have changed everything.
Could have. It could have a negative effect. We had the shot of Al Leiter, and he wasn't happy that that ball was thrown all the way to the backstop.
2-0 to Gerald Williams.
You know, it's funny. Some players can automatically refocus. Others are bothered by a pitch or giving up a hit.
Hell's already up to 25 pitches here in the first inning. 2-0 to Gerald Williams. And it's fouled away.
Well, Gerald Williams was a member of the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. He struggled so badly this year, except got a nice average against Al Leiter during his career. But Gerald Williams struggled so badly, he was expendable to Tampa Bay.
Look at the Cubs, some salary. Yankees signed Williams through the end of next year. Fouled away right side. That'll reach the seats.
Sometimes you go out and pick up a player, and you take a player from one environment, which is a poor playing ball club, and put him in an environment with a solid ball club, a winning ball club, he becomes a better player.
Yeah, you know who's an example of that? As you look at Scott Brocious on deck, the Yankees' first base coach. Remember when the Mets picked up Lee Mazzilli for the second time after Pittsburgh had let him go?
Right.
Lee thrived in that environment with the Mets for a few years. 2-2 on the way. Got him. Up, foul tip. A foul tip that is not held by Todd Pratt. And now they say no foul.
The bat, I think, made contact on the back swing with Pratt's glove, and it might have hurt his catching hand. Let's see if Gerald Williams goes around. Now watch the backswing. Ooh, that's why the ball came out. Boy, you know what? I'm hoping to break his thumb. And that knocked the ball out of his glove, so strike 3. Pratt flexing that catching hand.
Well, Mike Piazza was hit with a backswing on the final out of a game against Montreal, and Milton Bradley's backswing hit him in the thumb. Right there, Todd Pratt absorbing contact. But that was a big strikeout for Leiter. Now it's Scott Brocious, who takes low 1-0. Remember, Leiter was behind Gerald Williams 2-0. Didn't get out of this inning with just 1 run scored against. That wouldn't be bad at all, considering the Yankees have the bases loaded with 1 out. Soho waiting on deck. And again, 2-0.
Yeah, this is a big hitter right here. Bases are loaded.
Bernie Williams, Shane Spencer, Jorge Posada all aboard for the Yanks. So Pettitte's got at least 1 to work with. And a little looper. Ordonez can't reach it. In comes Williams. Here comes Spencer. Payton's throw to third. Now they've got Posada hung up, being run back by Ventura. And finally the tag is applied by Edgardo Alfonso. But not before the Yankees score 2 more. So a 2-run single by Brocious. Posada out in the rundown, and the Yankees get 3 in the first. So the bloop single by Brocious. The 4th hit of the inning for the Yankees against Al Leiter. And at the end of 1 here in the Bronx, it's 3-0 Yankee Cablevision in their efforts to help the families of the bravest who died on Father's Day. The New York Post, in conjunction with the Uniformed Fighter Fighters Association, have set up a fund for these families whose fathers made the ultimate sacrifice. For more information, please refer to the New York Post, or donations may be made at any Wiz locations through July 7th or sent to the address on the screen. Todd Zeile takes downstairs from Andy Pettitte as we start the 2nd inning. Yankees getting 3 off of Al Leiter. Zeile, Agbayani, and Ventura. And a curveball drops in for a strike. It's 1-1. Hope you caught the pregame show when we talked at length with Todd Zeile about one of the pivotal plays in last year's World Series in Game 1. Outside 2-1. The ball that Todd hit off the top of the left field wall that most everyone thought was out. when you think you get into trouble. Timo Perez found that out.
He said, Todd Zeal told me that it defied gravity. As you look at Timo Perez, who started the Cadillac.
Who knows what might have happened had that game ended differently. I don't know what would have transpired had anything happened in game one that didn't, whether or not it would have affected anything subsequent to that game. Did he check his swing? No, he did not, says Andy Fletcher, and that's 3 straight strikeouts for Pettitte.
Well, Pettitte's looking real good. He ended the inning last inning, striking out Piazza. He struck out Alfonso. Now he gets Zeal. Look at that ball right on the corner. That's a great shot from our camera on the roof. You can see a piece of that ball touch home plate.
So now Agbayani, who's hit Pettitte well in a brief sample with 3 out of 6, including a home run. 0-1. It's funny, Fran, we talked to a number of the Met players leading up to this game about that first game of the World Series in this ballpark, because it's not often you look back at game 1 of a series as one that provides defining moments. 0-2 now to Benny. And, you know, we wondered whether or not that game served in retrospect as the catalyst for what's happened since, because you could make the argument the Mets really haven't recovered since that first game, but none of the players were willing to make that connection.
No, I wouldn't make that connection. It certainly could have had an effect. Look at this, another strikeout, getting Benny Agbayani. Pettitte is on a roll. He's got great control so far in this game. Look at this pitch. You saw the pitch he threw out over the plate to Zeal. Look at this, the cutter. That's a nasty pitch. When they cut a fastball in on your hands, you're going to do nothing with it.
Well, Robin Ventura has managed to handle Pettitte a couple of times in terms of the long ball. And Andy Pettitte just does not give up home runs to left-hand hitters. He gave up 1 all of last year. Ventura, who swings and misses here, was the guy who did it. This year, he's only given up 1 home run to a left-hand batter, and that's Doug Minkiewicz of the Minnesota Twins.
But Robin Ventura has hit .214 in 44 games here at the stadium. Boy, at one time, this stadium, I mean, the ball still carries very well to right field, but at one time they had a fence, very small fence. Balls would shoot into those right field seats. It was unbelievable.
Did he hold the swing? Nope. And it's 1-2.
Teams would come into Yankee Stadium and load up on left-handers, and the Yankees were hoping to load up on left-handed pitching.
This ballpark a lot different in its current configuration than it was prior to 1976. Breaking ball, got him. And presented by authority of the New York Mets, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Mets. Leiter gave up 3 in the first. Now it's Luis Sojo. Bunch him up the middle. Outside the Sojo, 1-0. Uncanny, isn't it, that in the game that Leiter pitched against the Yankees last month, Sojo hit a carbon copy ground ball up the middle. This one in the air. And Agbayani's under it. 1 man away.
Well, in this ball game, I mean, the base hit that Brochus got to drive in a couple runs. He muscled the ball into the outfield. Bernie Williams picked up an infield hit between short and third. He couldn't get Derek Jeter at second. Leiter's thrown some nasty pitches, but the situation is the Yankees have made contact and muscled the ball into the outfield, where the Mets have yet to make solid contact against Andy Pettitte.
Alfonso Soriano, the second baseman, slumping lately as he takes the cutter inside. 1-0. Soriano 4 for his last 32.
Yankees feel he has a lot of raw talent. He's developing that talent on a major league level. The one thing they talk about is knowing how to play the game. But you know what, Howie? If somebody has talent, I take that over knowing how to play the game. They can learn that part of it. The talent is a God-given gift.
Gets the high strike call. 2-1.
Soriano is a shortstop who's moved to second base, but Willie Randolph thinks he wants to play shortstop.
It's out in front there and drills it foul.
Willie was telling me that Soriano, although he has been decent at second base, Willie feels that He's a shortstop playing second base and wants to be a shortstop. Willie has to convince him. There's Willie, third base coach, and I'm sure a future Major League manager. He said he has to convince Soriano that you are the second baseman and you got to take it real seriously and learn the role.
3-2 to a guy you don't want to put on because he can steal bases. He's got 23 of them this year. Batting him ninth with his designated hitter arrangement really gives you almost 2 leadoff hitters.
Good speed. He's got some pop in that bat too. Get 5 home runs, 29 RBIs. He's only going to get better. He's got some good people working with him over here in the Bronx. And he was a heralded minor league player.
And the payoff pitch up and in for ball 4.
That's a problem because they like his speed and they want him to be a bona fide base stealer.
Tonight's episode of Fast Facts brought to you by Panasonic, just slightly ahead of our time. All about Al.
Al Leiter, selected by the Yankees in the second round of the '84 draft. 7-8 record as the Yankees. Won the Roberto Clemente Award in the year 2000. Pledged $1 million to charity after signing with the Mets in 1998. Done a lot of good things with that. Leiter's landing.
Now it's Knobloch who struck out in the first inning.
Well, you saw how aggressive Joe Torre managed against the Mets at Shea Stadium. I gotta believe he'll be just as aggressive here at Yankee Stadium with Soriano on first base. Leiter has to be aware of him. Todd Pratt has to be aware of him.
The Yankees stole 7 bases in 8 attempts during the 3 games of the series at Shea Stadium. So Leiter wants to keep Soriano as close as possible. But the Yankees leading the major leagues in stolen bases. Not something you ordinarily think about.
Yeah, they decided to go out and work on their running game. Well, I'll tell you one thing. Todd Pratt caught that ball in an uncomfortable fashion. You saw the ball get past him to the backstop earlier. Right there, he went up and made that catch. Now you watch the signs given by Fonzie and Ordonez. Who's going to take it at second base on a ground ball?
Open mouth means you cover, right?
And they're very aware of this guy at first base who can run. Take a look at. You see Ordonez looking at the sign coming from Pratt.
Now 2 throws over. The last time it was Alfonso open mouth, meaning Ordonez was to cover, and then they reversed it.
Probably off the sign that Pratt is giving.
Fonzie's covering. Runner goes. Fonzie to the bag. Pratt's throw not in time. So they let you know who was covering. But it still didn't matter because Soriano comes up with his 24th steal.
Soriano runs well. The ball was a good ball to catch and throw. And Todd Pratt bounced it down to second base. Take another look from our camera behind home plate. Knobloch taken all the way as Soriano had a straight steal. Fonzie catching it on a hop. You know, it didn't appear to me that Todd Pratt was very aggressive coming out of the chute the way he ordinarily is.
Knobloch pulls it down to Ventura. Long throw by Robin, but it's right there.
And Howie, I'm not sure if Todd is a little bit uncomfortable after that ball sailing over his glove. He caught a ball just a few minutes ago that was uncomfortable, that was up. Now, watch this. He's not as aggressive coming out of the chute. Now, also keep in mind, he was hit on a backswing. So that takes away your aggressiveness. Also, the way he has been receiving the ball from Al Leiter. I'll talk to Todd after the game, find out if it made him uncomfortable, that ball going over his head last inning.
So here's Jeter with a runner in scoring position and 2 out. And Leiter hits the inside corner.
Usually when Todd Pratt is catching, he is extremely aggressive coming out of the chute on a stolen base.
Vance Wilson, the Mets' 3rd catcher. Piazza really can't catch yet. Jeter holds up, and the pitch taken outside, 1-1. Here's Vance Wilson, who picked up his first 2 major league hits in the game on Wednesday against the Cubs.
All the players keyed up coming over here to Yankee Stadium, the Subway Series.
Inside, 2-1.
Tsuyoshi Shinjo says what he was really impressed with about this Subway Series is the police escort. How about that?
Wait till he's been around New York for a while and he can really appreciate it. Again inside, and the count 3-1.
They said that wouldn't happen in Japan.
Police escort?
Yeah, not to a baseball game. Now, maybe if they had the Subway Series atmosphere, they'd do it.
But they don't even dive for balls there. And they want police escorts too? Not happening. So 3-1 to Jeter. And he walked him. So Al kept missing inside. But now Bernie Williams will be the batter. So that's 3 walks given up by Leiter.
50 pitches, 5-0. The next pitch is going to be Al Leiter's 50th pitch. He told me in a game when he was with the Yankees, Dallas Green was the manager, he threw 160 pitches.
Bobby used White, Wall, Wendell, and Cook out of his bullpen last night in relief of Steve Traxel. So Bernie Williams reached on an infield hit his first time up. 343 from the left side, 282 from where he is now, the right side against Leiter. And he gets under that one. Agbayani with an easy play. And that retires the side. So a couple of walks. They're both left aboard. And in the middle of the second.
He's got excellent control. And he's got all his pitches working. There's a fastball. Check swing by Zeal. There's that cutter and the hook. So you saw 3 different pitches from Andy Pettitte. He's got great control of all of his pitches. Now here's the pitch tracks. Look at the location. The first one was to Zeal. The second pitch was to Agbayani. The third pitch was to Robin Ventura. That's our pitch tracks.
And Jay Payton leading off the 3rd inning. Goes after the first pitch and pops it foul. Posada by the screen. No play. Let's remind you that our friends at Oral Health, America's national spit tobacco education program, would like to remind you that smokeless does not mean harmless. The sponsors of Pitch Tracks. Jay 1 for 10 during the mini homestand against the Chicago Cubs. Still trying to get back into a groove after 7 weeks on the disabled list.
It's amazing that you mentioned that smokeless tobacco. In baseball today, organizations are encouraging young players and older players to stay away from it.
And the fastball, check swing, and Pettitte retires Payton. 1 away.
Every pitch he has thrown has been nasty. He got a ground out. Joe McEwing grounding out his first time up, then 5 strikeouts. And here's Jay Payton, and he just handcuffs Payton. Talking about a kid with a quick bat. Well, Pettitte right now is in the groove. Where could this go? He's got no-hit stuff.
Well, he's retired the first 7. And now Todd Pratt making his 18th start behind the plate. And that's a strike, 0-1. Todd Pratt, usually up until this year, a very productive hitter off the bench. He struggled all season offensively. Fouled away, and again, Pettitte ahead 0-2.
Well, Pettitte has the Mets right now so far in this game on their heels with his aggressive pitching and his ability to throw the ball where he wants it. They tell me Roger Clemens has had a very positive effect on Andy Pettitte as far as the work ethic. They work out together all year now.
Breaking ball got him. Bottom drop right out of it. And that is 6 strikeouts for Pettitte.
No wasted pitches. 2 strikes. Throws him a nasty pitch.
It's an MLS showdown tomorrow on MSG Network when the Metro Stars roll into Miami to battle the Fusion. Game time is 7:30. Metro Stars soccer tomorrow night only on MSG Network. Pettitte's got the first 8. Now it's Ray Ordonez, and the fastball on the outer edge. 0-1 to Ray.
In last night's ball game, Ray Ordonez slapped the ball hard to the right side.
So the K line. No ball, it's 2 strikes to Ordonez. Been moving plenty of those trains through here so far. The way Andy Pettitte's been going through the first 3 innings.
He's focused.
Line to left center. And if you were thinking even in the 3rd inning, no hit stuff, forget it. Now can they get Ordonez at second? Nice relay from the outfield between Williams and Knobloch, but not in time to get Ray. So a 2-out double for Ordonez, the Mets' first hit.
Ray seems to be taking a much more controlled swing. We talked about his hits last night right there. He swings down on the ball and hits the ball hard into left center field. How about Bernie Williams taking the flip and throwing the ball in? But Ordonez in with the head first slide. So good hitting against good pitching by Ray Ordonez.
It was an 0-2 pitch that Ordonez lined into left center for his 12th double of the year. So now McEwing. Knobloch and Williams communicating, I would imagine, on that play, because Williams has to be ready.
You're seeing that more and more lately, where outfielders, we saw it last night, outfielder, right fielder flipped to the center fielder, running away from the plate, ball was thrown in by the center fielder. Again tonight.
Of course, Williams, I don't know if he ever played shortstop. You know that Knobloch was a second baseman who's used to getting it away quickly.
Plus, let's keep in mind, and although it's not a factor in the outfield, that Knobloch's favorite thing right now, the past few years, is not necessarily throwing the ball. But that didn't have anything to do with what he just did. But you'll give up a ball quicker when you're experiencing a throwing problem. You say, here, Howie, you throw it.
Well, that's mistake number 1. But would you believe George criticized Knobloch earlier this year for being too small to play the outfield? Pettitte's ready. Ordonez leading from second. Again, it's an 0-2 pitch. In the air, well hit to center. Williams going back, still going, and Bernie Williams makes the catch. So McEwing gave it a pretty good ride. But Williams chases it down. The Mets are done in the 3rd, still 3-2. Shane Spencer takes ball 1 as we start the Yankee 3rd. It'll be Spencer, Jorge Posada, and Gerald Williams to face Al Leiter. 1-1. Al has really labored through the first 2 innings, facing 7 men in the first, 5 more in the second when he walked 2. And Al up over 50 pitches already. 2 balls, 1 strike on Spencer. You know, Charlie Huff and Bobby Valentine are going to let Leiter go as long as he can. To the hole. Nice play, Ventura. Can he get him? Yes, sir. Good play by Robin Ventura to cut it off.
And he learned to catch it more in the webbing.
Another tester for Ventura. And a low throw, but a good play by Zeal. Nice pick by Tower. Saving Robin Ventura, potential throwing error. Well, our Fleet Subway Series matchup is just about 5 years old, going back to the inception of interleague play in '97. This is the all-time interleague series standings and numbers, if you will, with these teams.
You know, we were talking about the webbing of that glove. The first ball was hit in Ventura. To Ventura, he caught it in the webbing. He can pitch from Leiter. Second ball hit. Watch where he catches. Ball comes up. Try to keep it off the heel. Looking right in the webbing. Try to keep it away from the heel of the glove.
0-1 to Gerald Williams, who struck out his first time up. 1-1. Williams getting playing time. David Justice is on the disabled list with a groin injury. And that's pulled down to Ventura. No, it's been a Robin Ventura kind of inning, but that one gets away from Zeal. And down to second heads Williams, and he's in there standing. Well, that's 2 low throws in a row. Zeal saved him on Posada's ball, but not on Williams.
Well, we talked about the webbing, and again, Robin Ventura makes a nice play there toward the webbing of the glove, and then bounces the ball. You know what? That ball there was close enough for Todd. You see that catch? It was close enough for Todd, I think, to scoop this ball. Take another look. Todd thought he had it, but look at that. You know what? It did bounce, but it bounced close enough where with that first baseman's glove, I thought Todd should have caught it.
Fastball.
should have scored an error on Robin Ventura because he threw it. It is scored an error on Robin Ventura. All 3 balls in this inning ended up in the webbing of Robin Ventura's glove, or close to the webbing.
6 errors now this year on Robin Ventura, most of which have come in the last couple of weeks. No swing, and the count now on Scott Brocious,
who's been struggling with errors this year.
Yep, 2 balls, no strikes. In fact, Brocious at third base for the Yankees made 17 errors. So Williams at second with 2 outs. 3-0 Yankees. We're in the third.
Oh,
Williams running, and he's going to get in there standing up. Pitch taken for a strike.
Well, in a way, you really can't take anything for granted. It's unusual with 2 outs. Runner at second will take off. Look at this jump. That's a major league jump to the point where Todd Pratt said, it's yours. They forgot about him. They forgot about him at second base.
And Brocious makes him pay. In to score is Williams, an unearned run for the Yankees. Brocious picks up his 3rd run batted in with his 2nd hit, and it's now 4-0 Yankees.
Well, Williams reached on an error, got to second base, and moved to third on a stolen base. Brocious hit that ball hard. His last time up, he drove in 2 runs, didn't really hit the ball that hard, and right there, he gets a good whack at that ball from Al Leiter, and Al Leiter wearing his emotions, I guess, on his sleeve.
0-1 to Soho. Well, Leiter got 3 ground balls. Ventura with a low throw, and Zeal couldn't pick it. Results in an error, and now an unearned run. And Luis Soho away from the fastball.
Even the runner on second base, Gerald Williams, that stole third. I mean, Al Leiter, of course, can look at it, but Ray Ordonez has to cause some commotion behind the runner, make him a little bit nervous, take away his aggressiveness. You just can't allow him to run off second base.
You know, it's amazing when you look at how the Mets have broken down in areas where they have failed this year. How often there have been defensive lapses, throws to the wrong bases, things this team rarely, if ever, did over the last 3 or 4 years. A stunning change this year.
I mean, they put out, the past few years, they have put out very good baseball, very good, sound, fundamental baseball, but recently have been struggling in pretty much all aspects of the game.
Fouled away by Soho, 1-2.
Just a few years ago, where you consider the Mets defensive infield the best in the history of the game.
2,100 runs all year. Just 2 years ago against the Mets, but they have made a myriad of mental as well as physical mistakes defensively and on the bases this year. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Certainly, if you look for a constant in where things have gotten away from Bobby Valentine, well, it's been the lack of runs, the lack of offense, but almost as startling, the mistakes that they've made in areas where they rarely, if ever, made them over the last few years. Of course, Mike Piazza can only help with his bat tonight, but remember Timo in Game 1 last year in the World Series. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Dave Engel, the new hitting coach, in the foreground, trying to help these slumping hitters get through it. Now it'll be a payoff pitch to Soho. Outside, and Leiter has walked his 4th batter of the ball game.
70 pitches now by Al Leiter.
Well, the run the Yankees have in this inning, and anything they might get beyond that here in the third, are unearned against the account of Leiter because of the Ventura error. But the Yankees with a 4-0 lead here. And Alfonso Soriano, who drew a walk and stole a base his first time up, will be next. Robin made 2 low throws. One that Zeal rescued, another which he could not. Robin also not moving on that stolen base where Gerald Williams basically walked into third. That's a strike to Soriano.
On that stolen base, there was going to be no throw, and Robin Ventura knew that. It was just it was such a big jump. Todd Pratt didn't even come out of his haunches. He just caught the ball and threw the ball back to Leiter.
Outside, 1-1.
Al Leiter really laboring on the mound, although a lot of the hits the Yankees have put together in this ball game so far have not been scorched, but they've been productive hits.
Deep to left center. Agbayani and Payton going away back.
Whoa.
And this ball is gone. A 3-run home run by Alfonso Soriano. And it is now a 7-0 Yankee lead.
Well, Soriano's a big prospect with this ball club. His 6th home run of the season, and he wailed on that ball. Long home run off Al Leiter. 3-run home run for Soriano.
1-0 to Knobloch. Here it is again.
Leiter challenged Soriano with a high fastball. Soriano clobbered that ball. Well, I was surprised that ball went out.
Line off the glove of Ventura. And Knobloch's aboard. And the wheels have come off here in the 3rd inning for the New York Mets.
Well, Al Leiter throws that ball to Knobloch. Knobloch puts it in play, and it's off the webbing of Ventura. So a tough inning for the Mets and Al Leiter. Of course, Ventura throwing that ball away. A big error in this inning. And Soriano going deep. We talked about Soriano earlier in the ball game. The Yankees feel he has a lot to learn, but with the talent out there, they can learn on their way. Soriano with a big blow in this ball game. 3-run dinger here in the 3rd, and 7-zip Yanks.
Well, Soriano hit one to a spot where home runs traditionally did not go in this ballpark. Of course, they've changed the dimensions and they've brought in the fences, but that's still a pretty good poke. That's close to 400 feet to left center field, where Alfonso Soriano unloaded against Al Leiter. So now with Knobloch at first, it's Derek Jeter, 1 for 1 with a walk. No ball, it's 1 strike to Jeter. Knobloch at first with 26 stolen bases, and Andy Pettitte's got a huge cushion.
And the way he's throwing right now, he's tough.
1-1.
Just got through saying how a number of the hits off of Leiter have been hits where the Yankees have muscled the ball into the outfield, and then Soriano clobbered it.
Balls that Soriano and 2 batters before him, Brocious hit.
Yeah, Brocious hit the
Probably
ball.
the only 2 balls that were really hit hard off of Leiter so far tonight. I mean, really hit hard.
And the error by Robin Ventura.
Off the fists. And Ordonez grabs it to retire the side. But after Leiter got the first 2, it looked like he'd had the 3rd. The inning continued, and Soriano punctuated it with a long home run. 3 in the books. Games won by a pitcher after leaving the New York Yankees. Of course, one of the candidates, the starting pitcher for the Mets in this game. We'll have the answer for you in the bottom half of the inning. So Andy Pettitte goes to work up 7. And a breaking ball on the outside corner to Edgardo Alfonso, who does not agree and will go for a little stroll.
So after sitting in the dugout, and it was a somewhat long inning, Andy Pettitte comes out, the first pitch he throws, strike 1.
He's been doing that right through the first 3 innings. Really, he's been throwing strike 2, although not there. Now it's 1-1 on Alfonso. He got the first 2 hitters in the 3rd, then he went 0-2 to Ordonez, and Ray drove one into center for a double. Then he went 0-2 to McEwing, and McEwing hit a fly ball to center that ended the inning. Doesn't get the call there. And the count now, 2 balls and a strike on Edgardo. Mike Piazza, the DH, waiting on deck. Yankees 7 runs, 7 hits. With 3 in the first, the only earned runs against Leiter. And a fastball. Derek Jeter, 1 away. Tonight after the game, stay tuned for a complete recap of the Mets and the Yankees, plus all the home team news, scores, and highlights on the New York Sports Report. It's coming your way tonight following Mets baseball here on Fox Sports Net.
Sounds like Yankee Stadium when Mickey Mantle played here. He used to get booed. And then later on in his career, he got cheered.
1 ball, no strikes on Piazza.
Look at that leg kick. Everything compact. Drives off the rubber. Followed through. It looks like he's thrown in pain, doesn't it? Nice breaking ball right there to Mike Piazza. The expression on Pettitte's face, he's either yelling in an aggressive mode or he's yelling in pain when he releases the ball.
Well, the injury that he had this year had nothing to do with the arm. It was the groin. In fact, he aggravated an existing injury throwing a pitch in the game at Shea Stadium last month. And lasted exactly how far he's pitched tonight. But this one is hit far. Deep to left field. Knobloch back. That's a gunner. So Mike Piazza with his 21st home run of the year. The Mets are on the board at 7-1.
Who cares who's got a broken tongue? Bobby Valentine said it all depended on batting practice. Well, he had good BP, and he's got a home run. 21st dinger of the year for Mike Piazza. Mets now trailed by 6.
The 8th home run given up this year by Andy Pettitte. And Piazza, playing for the first time in a week, crushes one to get the Mets on the board. So now it's Zeal.
So Mike Piazza, that's that good Piazza swing. He knew it was gone. That was compact, completely controlled. He's on the balls of his feet. And a home run for Mike Piazza. Andy Pettitte's reaction to the home run.
1-1 to Zeal here in the 4th. 2 balls and a strike now to Todd.
Piazza likes hitting here at Yankee Stadium. He's had some success in the Subway Series.
There aren't many ballparks we go to where you look at the numbers and say, he hasn't done that well here. Oddly, wasn't Wrigley Field one of them? Bounce to Jeter. And Zeal is gone. 2 men away.
I believe you're right. I believe you're right about Wrigley Field. I mean, at the Houston Astrodome, Piazza had the longest home run ever. His offensive numbers were unbelievable in the Dome, which is a pitcher's ballpark. A lot of the ballparks in the National League, when they post the numbers when the Mets go into town, Piazza usually has the most home runs in the ballpark as a visiting player, or the most RBIs, or the highest batting average.
2 out, nobody on for Agbayani. And Derek Jeter. 3 assists in the inning. Yanks hit 3 ground balls to Jeter and 1 fly ball to probably a vendor out around Monument Park. Off the bat of Mike Piazza gets the Mets on the scoreboard. Middle of the 4th at 7-1 Yankees. Let's revisit that Aflac trivia question. The pitcher having won more career games than anyone after leaving the Yankees. Is it Al Leiter? He'd be a candidate. Leiter'd be a pretty...
Yeah, Al Leiter. How about Doug Drabek, a guy that Lou Piniella traded to the Pirates when Lou was the general manager here, and told me he never wanted to trade him. Right after he traded him, he said, that's the one guy I didn't want to give up. 114 wins. He was a good major league pitcher.
So now Leiter will face Bernie Williams, Shane Spencer, Jorge Posada here in the 4th. And Al misses outside with a curveball, 1-0. Williams, an infield single, came around to score in the 1st inning and flied out to left in the 2nd. Bernie's now been on base 40 consecutive games, and Al misses with another breaking ball. It's 2-0.
Bernie Williams is the type of kid that won't get the respect he deserves as a player because he does everything so quietly and so smoothly. He does it, it seems like, without fire.
Cutter on the inside corner, 2-1.
Talk to some of the Yankees, and they say he makes great plays in the outfield. He can go get it with anybody, and then all of a sudden loses his concentration and drops an easy fly ball.
Little pop-up. Ordonez backing up and puts it away. One gone.
Well, last inning, Mike Piazza goes deep. Pretty interesting scenario here. Watch Mike Piazza take this pitch that's up, and he drives it over the left field wall. Now, that's the first run of the game for the Mets. The Yankees have a 6-run lead. Watch Andy Pettitte. You'd think he was knocked out of the ball game. He took it personally.
Well, at least he's learned to use the right hand, not the pitching hand.
Oh, boy.
1 ball, no strikes. But temper management is something that the Yankee front office has, well, it's been a problem for him over the years, going back to his minor league days. Easy play here for Pratt, 2 gone. Andy Pettitte really would let that temper show on the mound when he was in the minor leagues, and the Yankees tried to get him to refine that a bit.
Well, of course, you know, they bring him to New York and they let him play a little bit with Paul O'Neill. That'll do it.
Yeah, you get intimidated watching him.
You know what? There's certain things you can't control. You just don't want to get hurt. You don't want to hurt anybody else. Watching him do that in that dugout, pounding his fist. There was a famous incident many years ago here at Yankee Stadium. Al Kaline went into the dugout after making it out with the Tigers, and he threw the bat into the bat rack so hard that he broke his finger, and he was out the rest of the year. It's called temper management. You know what they used to say? Calm down.
Watch that water cooler. 1-1 on Jorge Posada. There's probably some ghosts here that have your name on them in this ballpark. 2-0 now on Posada. Posada singled in a run in the first and bounced to third in the 3rd inning. I mean, how would you even have had any room to display your temper in that loony bin of a clubhouse where you played right here in this ballpark 20-some years ago?
Well, you know, it was interesting. Everybody focuses on somebody like Paul O'Neill or Andy Pettitte. But on that ball club, if somebody lost their temper, you know, you kind of just...
You'd never find it. Nobody would ever know it's missing with that crew.
You never care. You know, the guy lost his... Players used to... Now, I'm not talking about Sweet Lou Piniella. He was a manager. He's a manager and a good one now. He had one of the great tempers that I ever played with, but he never harmed anybody. But you know when you lose your temper, how you say dumb things?
I've heard.
I'll tell you about. Listen to these guys. Well, I can tell you that Lou would do things. And even when I was with the Royals and Lou was with the Yankees, when Lou would make an out, we would all sit there and you hear, watch Lou, let's watch Lou. And Lou would inevitably do something that would embarrass himself.
Fouled away. The voice of reason in that clubhouse is in the 3rd base coaching box now for the Yankees.
Well, he was a kid. He would watch this and shake his head. I mean, things were going on in that clubhouse. Willie Randolph was the ultimate professional, even as a 24-year-old. So he'd be looking at that clubhouse back in the 70s, not believing what he was watching.
Pulled down to Ventura. Robin with a long throw, and the side retired. So Al Leiter works a 1-2-3 inning as the Yankees go in order for the first time tonight, tomorrow, and then Rick Reed and Randy Kiesler on Sunday night, final game before the All-Star break.
You know, Howie, we were talking about tempers and back in the 70s with that club, which was a very colorful team here in the Bronx. By the way, Bobby Valentine's going out for a chat. Something going on near the dugout? Yeah.
Well, Robin Ventura is the scheduled leadoff hitter for the Mets, and he's not around anywhere. Desi Relaford is coming into the on-deck circle. Now, I wonder whether or not... I'm sorry, Fran,
he was writing a name and a lineup.
I wonder if this has anything to do with the throws that Robin bounced in the 3rd inning when the Yankees wound up scoring 4 runs. I mean, he made a pretty good throw just now on the ground ball by Posada, which ended the inning. You know, you always wince a little when you hear about Ventura having to leave a game because he has a history with that shoulder, which was surgically repaired a couple of years ago. So it certainly would be irresponsible to guess that that has anything to do with it, but it's something you have to keep in the back of your mind. So Relaford hits for Ventura. And as we go to the 5th, here's Fran.
All right, Howie, as Relaford steps in, he fouls off the first pitch.
Now, watch Robin now, and don't necessarily read anything into facial expressions. But does he short arm the throw? Does it get there? He grimaces, but I think that's what he always does.
Well, no, you know what? You can probably read something into that expression. There's a breaking ball for a strike to Desi Relaford. Relaford batting .296 over his last 54 games. You see his numbers there: 4 home runs, 17 RBIs, .283 batting average. So Pettitte against Relaford on a gorgeous night here at Yankee Stadium in front of a packed house. Swung on and missed, and Pettitte continues to dominate, except for one pitch.
7 strikeouts now for Andy Pettitte as he picks up Desi Relaford. So Desi down on strikes. Jay Payton will be next, and presumably Desi will stay in the game with Robin Ventura out. If we were to guess anything at this point, we'd have to say something shoulder related, given a couple of low throws that he made in that 3rd inning.
I told you, you said don't read his face. I'm gonna read it.
Well, you know why? Because as you look at Jim Duquette and Steve Phillips, I don't know from memory whether or not he makes something of a wincing expression when he throws routinely from 3rd base.
Payton down to Brocious. Over to Soho, scored 5-3, 2 down, and now we'll take a look at our Jeep game summary.
Well, it's been all Yankees to this point. Posada getting it going, and then Brocious driving in a couple more in the 1st inning. Soriano with a 3-run homer to break it open, at least until Piazza can get the Mets 1 closer.
So Piazza, home run number 21, as Todd Pratt is doing the catching tonight, steps in. Pratt striking out in his only at bat tonight. This is his 17th start for the Mets this year, and he takes inside, ball 1. One and 0 on Todd Pratt. This Pettitte's just bruised.
Well, watch Robin Ventura again.
Look, you could see him grimacing. You know, Howie, you're on the money. I'm going to read that face. I'm going to say that's sore.
Well, the 2 balls that he threw in the dirt in that 3rd inning would lead you to believe it might very well be shoulder related. I just wish I knew off the top of my head if he makes any kind of similar expression on routine throws.
Well, it's 2-1 now on Todd Pratt. He hits the ball right out in front of the plate, and they get Pratt. He said it's in foul territory. He's pointing to the spot, but he's not going to win this argument. That'll do it for the Mets, and Andy Pettitte so far is in his groove. He is shutting down the Mets. As we go to the bottom of the 5th inning, the Yanks have a 6-run lead. Gerald Williams is the ball.
Well, you know, Williams has been around. He's a veteran, and as soon as he saw that you were going to read that little billboard, he stepped out to give you time to complete it and then get back in the box and go to work.
He knows where the glue comes from. Down low, swung on and missed. 0-2.
He knows now, getting a new contract that'll extend through the end of next year. And Desi Relaford takes over for Ventura at 3rd base.
Williams 0 for 2 tonight. Reached on an error and struck out. Breaking ball down low. Boy, I see that number 17. I think of one player, Mickey Rivers.
I hear about the Yankees stealing bases the way they do this year. I think of Mickey Rivers.
They're quick.
I mean, the Yankee franchise had never, ever been known for speed until they got Mickey Rivers before the '76 season.
He could play. If you could get him on the field, you had a good player. It was a job sometimes to get the quick on the field. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Ground ball short. Ordonez played him well. Got him.
You know what, Fran, now that I see Relaford diving to come up with that ground ball from Gerald Williams, one of the ground balls that were hit to 3rd base, cut off by Ventura earlier in the game. You wonder whether or not that might have had any effect on injuring the shoulder.
But it was clear he was grimacing, throwing that ball across the infield. And you know, from my experience of throwing baseballs, usually it was a delight, but if your arm was sore, you grimaced. If you grimaced all the time, strained left shoulder. Yeah, right shoulder. I was going to say, how do you strain his left shoulder? so Robin strained his right shoulder. Howie might be on the money with that dive. But we'll check on that. But he left the ball game because of the strained right shoulder, and he did grimace throwing that ball across the infield. 0-2 on Scott Brocious. He's 2 for 2. He's had a big night. 2 singles, 3 RBIs. Outside, 1-2.
Well, again, watch the face. Does that exhibit pain? He's getting ready to uncork it, and it certainly looks like he's uncomfortable, huh?
That's a painful throw across the infield. That's a good shot to pick that up, because you can see in his face, he's throwing that ball reluctant. Steve Phillips will be grimacing after finding out that news. Steve, the general manager with the New York Mets, looking on as the Mets take on the Yankees in the first of 3. Fouled back and out of play. So it's 2 balls and 2 strikes, and Scott Brocious. Luis Sojo on deck. Al Leiter pitched better so far than that score indicates. He did give up the long home run to Soriano. A hard hit ball to Scott Brocious. And the Mets trail the Yanks by 6. That's a nasty pitch right there. So Brocious opening up quickly against Al Leiter. Leiter going outside. When you open up, you don't handle that outside pitch. Strike 3.
So for Al Leiter, his 3rd strikeout of the night as Brocious goes around. And from overhead, Brocious still goes around.
You see those hits, how they opened up quickly, because Al Leiter throws that ball inside and everybody opens up prematurely. There's a foul ball down the left field line. So it's 0-1. And for the latest on the Mets, check out the all-new MSGnetwork.com, the ultimate website for New York sports fans, featuring exclusive articles from Marv Albert, Mike Green, and Fox Sports Net on-air personalities, Howie Rose, yours truly, and many more. Visit the all-new MSGnetwork.com. More angles, more insight.
And this week, or at least for today, why a lack of hoopla surrounding this series? And overwhelmingly, you saw the fans voting that the reason seems to be the poor play of the Mets this year, and I don't think there's any question about that. But you could log on and vote right through the night.
Inside to Sojo. Not that close, but getting a reaction from the fans here at Yankee Stadium.
Well, you know, Al's sick of those little 39 hoppers of Sojo's going through the infield, so he said, here, hit this one.
Throws that ball away. And he's going to pick up an infield hit. So Al Leiter not getting over to first base, and Sojo does it again.
Unbelievable. I mean, Leiter just late getting off the mound after buzzing him with the last pitch, a little dribbler. You see Al's follow through, takes him to the third base side, but he didn't break right away. And there was no chance to get there in time to get Luis Sojo. So another rope by Sojo against Al Leiter. Uncanny.
Well, Al Leiter, a power pitcher who busts inside all the time. His weight going toward third base. Couldn't get over to first base. So, Sojo's on first. Al Leiter sick of Sojo being on the base. 1-0 now on Alfonso Soriano. He's 1 for 1. He's walked. He's hit a 3-run bomb in this game over the left center field fence. This ball, but not as hard as his last time up. Bagbayani with room, making the grab in left field. Soriano's out. So are the Yanks here in the bottom of the 5th, but through 5 subject field. So good luck, Michael Slattery. You could be at the Long Island Marriott chewing if there's a home run hit in the 6th. Ray Ordonez is the batter. Ordonez takes ball 1. Some action in the bullpen.
Rick White starting to throw for the New York Mets. White got into last night's game, pitched a couple of innings, 2 1/3 to be exact.
So it's 1-1 on Ray Ordonez. Ray holds the major league record with 101 starts at shortstop without making an error. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Ray. He hits the ball right field. So Ordonez picking up his second hit of the ball game last night. He had a couple of blows at Shea Stadium against the Cubs.
So that's 3 hits given up by Andy Pettitte, and 2 of them have come off the bat of Ray Ordonez, who goes right with this pitch, going down to get it. And hitting it right where it was pitched on the outside part of the plate. Soriano just can't reach it. So Ordonez with a leadoff single. And that's the first time, Fran, excuse me, the Mets have had the leadoff man on.
So nobody out. And Joe McEwing, the batter. Good breaking ball, but misses out of the strike zone. Ball 1. So you watch Andy Pettitte. Great mechanics going to the plate. You mentioned how he had injured and re-injured a joint pull. But as far as his delivery to the plate, he's smooth, compact, good leg kick, hides the ball well. Good release point. Command of all his pitches. That's a nasty hook. You know, when you're a right-hander and a left-hander throws you a hook like that, you start out and you tend to collapse everything, and that ball just breaks over the plate. The one thing about it, get a good look at it as it's called a strike. Ewing pulls it foul. 1-2.
Now this is where Ray hit the balls that became base hits. The first one was up. That was a double that he hit to left center field in the 3rd inning. But the second one that you see there, down and away, Ray kept his head right on the ball and went with it going the other way.
And the National Spit Tobacco Education Program and its chairman Joe Garagiola would like to remind you that smokeless does not mean harmless. Up high and out of the strike zone, so 2 balls for 2 strikes and Joe McEwing. And Carlo Alfonso on deck. McEwing batting .313, 5 home runs so far this year, 12 RBIs. Pulls it foul. So we'll do it again at 2-2. Nice gesture, giving it to a young fan in a red Yankee hat. Years ago, you couldn't give baseballs away. In fact, the famous incident with Mickey Mantle threw a ball in the stands during batting practice. George Weiss, the general manager of the Yankees, saw it and he fined him. So what did Mickey Mantle do the following winter? He was livid, so he held out.
Well, can you blame him? George Weiss was the same penurious individual who decided to cut Mantle's salary the year after he had won the Triple Crown and followed it up with a real solid year, but not a Triple Crown year. And so he said, well, you weren't as good as you were the year before. I'm cutting your salary. That made sense.
That's tough. It's 2-2 on Joe McEwing. Fouls it off.
Of course, Weiss became the first general manager of the Mets. He didn't have to worry about that kind of stuff in the early 1960s with that ball club.
Well, the way George Weiss got his break, he was a general manager of a minor league team. I believe it was in Connecticut, maybe New Haven. And the Yankees sent up their major league team to play, you know, that once-a-year game. And they didn't send up their real good players. George Weiss refused to give the Yankees part of the gate because they didn't send any stars up there. The Yankees liked it, so they hired him. McEwing drives the ball right center field. This is extra bases. Here comes Ordonez. Stearns will hold him at third. McEwing at the second base with a double. So with nobody out, here at the top of the 6th inning, McEwing with a double, runners at second and third.
That's a 9-game hitting streak now for Joe McEwing, who drives that ball well the other way beyond the reach of Gerald Williams. Ordonez caught looking at it just a little bit, but still with nobody out. And the Mets 6 runs down. John Stearns was not even going to think about taking a chance on sending Ordonez here. So McEwing pulls into second with his 7th 2-base hit of the year, a 9-game hitting streak. And the Mets trying to chip away now at the 7-1 lead.
And Carlo Alfonso, who's 0 for 2, is the batter. Fonzie fouls it back. Fonzie grounded out and struck out this game. Mets have 1 run on 4 hits. Pettitte still throwing the ball well. See the defense in preparation for Fonzie. They're playing him even up and deep in the outfield. The 0-1 pitch, fastball, and there's a drive to right field. Gerald Williams goes back. He makes the grab. Here comes Ordonez. He scores. McEwing moves to third. It's now 7-2.
And everything hit by the Mets here in the 6th inning against Andy Pettitte, driven the other way. Alfonso hits this ball to right field, deep enough to score Ordonez from third, just as Ray had hit a ball to right field for a single, and McEwing went the other way for a double. A good base running too by McEwing, tagging and getting to third on this long fly ball off the bat of Alfonso.
So McEwing on third, Mike Piazza the batter. He hit a long home run his last time up. He's 1 for 2. And he hits a line drive into center field. McEwing scores. It's now 7-3. Piazza with 2 hits and 2 RBIs, and still a broken toe.
And Joe Torre's starting to think, well, is Andy Pettitte losing this all at once now? Although Ordonez went down to get a pitch, the others, McEwing, Alfonso, and now Piazza up. And even though this ball starts to run in on Mike, he's quick enough and strong enough to muscle it into center field and pick up the run batted in. So the Mets doing something with some pitches from Pettitte here. Good work by Ordonez, good work there by Piazza on a pitch that might have been up, but not all that easy for Mike to muscle into center field.
So there's a buzz now here at Yankee Stadium. As Zeal takes outside, ball 1. We'll take a look at our pitching matchup brought to you by the New York area marquee, Broadway's biggest hit.
Well, the Mets starting to get to Pettitte. Look, only 3 of the runs earned against Leiter because of Ventura's error. That came in a 4-run Yankee third. So remember now, the Mets were down 7-2 at Shea, and they came back to beat the Yankees 8-7. Here they trailed 7-0. Now it's 7-3.
1-1 on Todd Zeal. The crowd now starting to get into this game. I want to update you on our poll that's being conducted on the MSG website. Joe Torre doesn't want to hear about these polls. Bobby Valentine, he's got a feeling his ball club can chip and Rain get back in this game. How about these fans now getting into it? Zeal taking down low. 3 balls, 1 strike. Agbayani will follow.
And remember, where Pettitte's gotten into trouble, apart from the Ordonez hit to lead off this inning, is when he has been up, and particularly with his fastball. 3 balls, 1 strike here to Todd Zeal. The Mets chipping away. A great hitting spot for Zeal here. Will Pettitte leave one up again?
There's a hard hit ball knocked down by Jeter. They go to second, they get Piazza. And is Jeter hurt? He knocked that ball down like a third baseman would have. Ball was smoked.
Yep, the ball was up and the ball was smoked. And Jeter had all he could do to just stay with it and get Piazza, who of course I'm sure had to be somewhat tentative sliding into second base with that broken toe. Well, that ball really ate up Derek Jeter. And then Piazza with the standard feet first slide, and apparently no ill effect.
No, Stottlemyre going out to the mound. Jorge Posada was out there talking to Andy Pettitte. I thought he went out to give Jeter a chance to maybe catch his breath, but it looks like maybe something's bothering Pettitte.
Well, he worked 7 innings in his last start, which was his first since coming off the disabled list. That was Sunday against Tampa. 7 outstanding innings, and here he's run into trouble in the 6th. I want to ask you again to please join Fox Sportsnet and Cablevision in their efforts to help the families of the bravest who died on Father's Day. The New York Post, in conjunction with the Uniformed Firefighters Association, have set up a fund for the families whose fathers made the ultimate sacrifice. For more info, please refer to the New York Post, or donations can be made at any Wiz locations through July 7th, or please send checks to that address right there.
So Biddy Agbayani now the batter. The Mets trailing by 4. We are in the 6th inning. They trailed by 7 at one time. Agbayani taking the ball, so it's 1-0 at Big Benny. Mike Piazza with a home run and a single in this game, 2 RBIs. The 1-0 pitch misses outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Agbayani with only 17 RBIs so far this season. Mel Stottlemyre on the horn.
And those have been calls that most of the year he hasn't been comfortable making, so the Yankees have gotten some help from middle relief.
There's a ground ball to short. Jeter goes to second for the force, and that'll do it for the Mets. But here in the top of the 6th inning, they pick up 2 runs. A base hit off the bat of Mike Piazza, driving Joe McEwing with the 2nd run.
Auto insurance. Call 800-JOIN now. You can save hundreds on auto insurance.
You get the reward of managing the All-Star team, but it doesn't seem like much of a reward. Well, Bobby Valentine has been getting slapped around by Cliff Floyd.
And he's getting pretty angry about it because he feels that his comments in a telephone conversation to Floyd about the possibility of his being selected for the All-Star team were either misunderstood or later on misrepresented, as you see Rick White coming in to do the pitching for the Mets here in the 6th inning. And, you know, we're not lawyers. We're not privy to the conversations, can't prosecute, you know, or take sides based on hearsay. But, you know, if you just look objectively at the situation between Joe Torre taking 7 of his own guys and being criticized for that, and Bobby Valentine being criticized by and about Cliff Floyd, I have a strange reaction to it. Strike 1 taken by Knobloch, Fran, and that is all I've heard for the last couple of weeks between reading in the papers from columnists and hearing some of us on the air, and certainly the calls to the talk shows. They're all talking about how the All-Star game is boring. It's meaningless. Well, if it's so boring and meaningless, how come all of these people are now so bent out of shape about who's going and who's not?
You know what? I'm going to tell you something. I think it's been good for the All-Star game. I think all the controversy has shed new light on the baseball All-Star game. Maybe it was boring. They needed some controversy, and those 2 guys right there gave it to the All-Star game.
Well, I just wonder whether or not some of those fans who are so ticked off about who's there and who's not, and specifically who's not, are the same fans who in over 800,000 cases voted for Ken Griffey Jr. and about 500,000 voted for him before he even had a hit. And what about McGuire? McGuire got almost 1 million votes. He's about 0 for 29 right now, thinking about retiring.
You know, they call it star quality, and if anybody should know about it, it's a kid who grew up in New York like Howie Rose. Star quality is what the All-Star game is all about. And the controversy, I think, as long as nobody's harmed, although if I was Cliff Floyd and I'm on 16 grand, I'm a little bit depressed.
Well, who told him to go and buy the plane ticket?
Well, what'll happen now is, you know who's really going to be depressed? The airline. Are those refundable? We better hope so.
Probably. I would imagine he flew him out there first class. 7 tickets, a little less than 16 grand. Sounds like first class to me.
Yeah, maybe you can get a refund. So the only people very upset with this All-Star game is that airline.
You know one way to take care of a controversy like this, though? Get rid of the rule that says that every team has to be represented. Because then Brian Giles might not be there, although he's having a great year. He is having a great year, but so's Floyd. Same with Guerrero, a terrific year, but so's Floyd.
Knobloch, a base hit to left field, hit a bullet off of Rick White. So Knobloch on first base with nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th. I think it's great for the All-Star game that Bobby Valentine is going to have Tommy Lasorda with him, and Joe Torre is going to have his brother Frank with him. I think it's a nice touch.
Well, the old saying is, to the victor belongs the spoils, and the spoils of winning your league championship include managing the All-Star team the next year. So, yeah, I mean, certainly Joe's selections might have been somewhat excessive, but he's got the right.
That's right. I agree.
And you could make a good case for every one he took, in my opinion.
If I'm managing a team and we're in first place, I'm bringing them with me. There's a strike to Derek Jeter, who's an all-star.
Well, how would you feel, Fran, if they eliminated the rule that said every team had to be represented? Because I would campaign for that. Then there would have been room for Floyd.
The problem is, I mean, you have some teams that you need representation. It's a Major League All-Star game. I feel you need representation from all teams. There's a strike.
I'll give you an example based on my own feelings. Watching as a Met fan when I was younger in the 70s and even the early 80s, it didn't matter to me if John Stearns was there that few years where he was the Mets representative, or Lee Mazzilli went as the Mets representative. I would have had as much interest in the game whether there was a Met player there or not.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. But you know what? If the team's not represented, it doesn't look good for the team. There's a flip to second, scored 6-4-3 as Rick White gets Derek Jeter to hit into a double play.
Potentially big pitch here with the Mets trying to come back, having cut a 7-0 lead into 7-3. Ordonez gets the big hop, and Alfonso with plenty of time to get Jeter at first base.
And suit up alongside your Mets heroes at the new long weekend, the lower price Mets Dream Week. For information, call 800-888-4376. But you know, Howie, we're talking about the All-Star game, and we have different points of view on the All-Star game, and that's good for the All-Star game. And you know what? Those players that are going to take that field in Seattle are great players inside the Bernie Williams.
Well, that's interesting, too, because it used to be that those token representatives of teams that really didn't have what you would consider to be All-Stars didn't have great numbers. But now that you've expanded to 30 teams and there are so many more players now, you don't see any stiffs in these games. You're leaving out 330 hitters with 70 RBIs. And Guerrero's having a good year. Lance Berkman, Moises Alou.
Guerrero's on fire now. He got off to a slow start. He now has 20 home runs. As Bernie Williams swings over a pitch, it's 1-1. But I think it's good for the game of baseball to have all the teams represented at the All-Star game. And I think the controversy, and again, as long as nobody gets hurt, is good for the game. It draws attention to the game. Derek Jeter will be at the game.
Perhaps ahead of Miguel Tejada, but you could make a case for Jeter, who's hit 30 points higher than Tejada.
Swung on and missed. 1-2 on Bernie Williams. I mentioned Joe Torre, his brother Frank, taught him how to play baseball. Frank has been through a lot, and Joe was able to get him into the dugout at the All-Star game.
Yeah, how could you criticize that?
You can't. You can't. I think it's a great touch for Joe and for the game of baseball. Bernie Williams takes a strike, so that'll do it for the Yankees. Here at the bottom of the sixth, they fail to score after 6 complete. 7-3 Yanks.
Pettitte here in the 7th inning. Pettitte started to labor during the 6th, so watch him closely here in the 7th as the Mets try to chip away through the whole right side. And the Mets immediately have a leadoff runner here in the 7th.
So Desi Relaford, who came into the ball game to replace Robin Ventura, who strained his right shoulder. And Relaford takes a pitch out over the plate. That's a pretty good pitch. That ball is in the strike zone, knee high, and Relaford hits it into right field for a base hit. Brings Jay Payton to the plate.
Yeah, that was about the same pitch that Ray Ordonez drove into right field for a single, leading off the 6th.
Well, Andy Pettitte has stayed away with some good pitches. I mean, Andy Pettitte has pitched very well.
Then he made some mistakes up in the 6th. So his first pitch to Payton is a curveball that drops in for a strike, and a dandy curveball by Pettitte.
Andy Pettitte has thrown 81 pitches, 59 strikes, 22 balls. He's thrown good quality strikes. Al Leiter early in the game got burnt with some pitches where they muscled the ball into the outfield, and then the big blow was Soriano's home run.
So 0-1 to Payton with Relaford at first. 0-2 to Jay. You saw Mel Stottlemyre on the phone a moment ago. We alluded to the fact that the Yankees have sought some fortification for their middle relief.
Take a look at that last pitch. Nice changeup. Jay Payton way out in front.
So that recently they have picked up Jay Ratasic from San Diego. That is Ramiro Mendoza, who generally pitches in the 7th or the 8th inning, although Stanton against left-handers and others will pitch in the 8th as well. Inside the Payton, 1-2. Mark Wohlers picked up recently, pitched in last night's game. Yankees, remember, have an 8-game winning streak on the line in this game. So Pettitte has them into the 7th. Pratt waiting on deck. That's now with 6 hits. The Yankees have 9. Pettitte ahead, 1-2. Line to right. Gerald Williams has to play it on a hop. And the Mets have the first 2 aboard here in the 7th. Back-to-back singles by Relaford and Payton.
Take a look at our Delta Airlines upcoming schedule. Joe Torre wants Posada to talk to Andy Pettitte. And the Mets will be right back here tomorrow afternoon against the Yanks. And then on Sunday, catch tomorrow's game on Fox 5 here in New York. Sunday, ESPN, an 8 p.m. start. Then the Bo Sox come in Thursday through Saturday to Shea Stadium. So good baseball to be seen out at Shea. Big series here. Mets, if they can come back in this game, it will be a tremendous comeback. Here's Jay Payton muscling the ball into right field. The ball fell in front of Gerald Williams. And the Mets have runners on first and second. Relaford watching that ball drop in and then hustling to second base. And you saw Joe Torre tell Jorge Posada to go out and talk to Andy Pettitte.
That was a time buy.
Joe's coming out. You know how he watching Andy Pettitte lose his temper in the dugout before? You wonder what runs through his body in the middle of the field when he gives up a couple hits.
Well, that's what he has talked about, having toned down since his minor league days. Although Pettitte said it was a pretty tough transition, because when he was younger and he would get all reactive on the mound, he felt that it wound up hurting his results when he tried to keep it in. Well, he gets a big hand from the crowd as he hits the Yankee dugout. He leaves ahead 7-3 with the Mets threatening. Bobby Valentine wants the matchup, the left-hand hitter and one with power against Mendoza. And he hits one to straightaway center. Bernie Williams backing up the runner's tag. Relaford draws a throw that comes in behind him rather than to third base.
You know what? Bernie Williams decided to keep Jay Payton at first. He was going to give third base to Desi Relaford. But with the score the way it is, you got to be cautious on second base, and Relaford stayed there. Ball hit off the end of the bat. The ball running away from Mark Johnson, and Bernie Williams goes back, and it's an easy play for him. But he was conceding third base to Relaford. Desi just assumed he was going to try to cut him down.
So Relaford still at second, Payton still at first, and Ray Ordonez has had a couple of knocks in this game. Doubled to center in the 3rd. Singled and scored in the 6th inning. Yankee infield will set up the double play day. And you see the outfield playing Ordonez pretty well to pull. And the Gerald Williams and Rye a little closer to the line. And the breaking ball for a strike. 0-1 to Ordonez. Here in the 7th, the Mets trying to continue a comeback that started with a 4th inning Piazza homer. Vance Wilson will come on to do the catching, with Pratt having been hit 4. Mets added 2 in the 6th. And they're trying to get something across here in the 7th. Relaford running from second, and the pitch bounced to the hole, cut off by Brocious. Second for 1, back to first, double play.
That was an excellent double play. I didn't think they could turn it.
Payton was not running from first. Relaford by Shane Spencer, 1 away.
And you mentioned how Spencer was struggling, and he hits the ball that hard, he has nothing to show for it.
Visit MSGstore.com, the online location for cool and collectible merchandise from the 2000 Subway Series, including the official video, commemorative book, and collector's tins. Great gifts for all occasions, all at MSGstore.com.
Hey, how about the game? The Indians and the Cardinals. Jim Thome, 3 home runs.
What inning they?
It's over.
Oh, that's nothing. No record.
But 3 dingers. You're looking for records.
That's right. We want the hot stuff. 0-1 to Jorge Posada. Gerald Williams waiting on deck. One strike on Posada. Jorge Posada, one of those Yankee 7 heading to Seattle. 62 runs batted in now for Posada. drives this one in the air to right center field. Jay Payton is there, 2 away.
You know, Howie, the other day, they remembered a day here in the 80s on July 4th, a no-hitter thrown by Dave Rigetti. I had the opportunity to broadcast that game with Mel Allen. And in the booth that day was supposed to be another announcer, Phil Rizzuto. But what happened was a strategic mistake. The producer asked Phil to go down by the dugout. They were going to draw a lucky number. Well, Phil went down, drew the lucky number before the game, 5 minutes before the game, and went home. So he missed the whole game.
Wait a minute.
He left the ballpark.
Well, what was the drawing for? The right to go home?
I don't know. He drew it. You know, he pulled it out of the hat. Whatever he did, he left the ballpark and he missed a no-hitter.
Whoever gets the lucky number doesn't work. You think Scooter Carey missed the no-hitter?
I don't think so. I doubt it.
1-1 on Gerald Williams.
But Mel Allen, and as I mentioned, I had the opportunity to work with Mel, and Scooter was supposed to be in a booth that day, and he was on his way home as Rigetti was throwing that no-hitter.
Fouled away. First autograph I ever got in my life was Mel Allen.
Oh, yeah.
And I was disappointed because I didn't know what autograph meant. My father, I was only about 6, 7. My father says, go get Mel Allen's autograph. There he is. Well, I knew photograph. I thought he was at least going to draw a picture of himself or something. I said to my dad, here, he just signed his name.
Very nice man. Very nice man, a magnificent broadcaster.
Little pop-up outside first. Backing up is Zia. And he puts it away. So a strong inning for Rick White as the Yankees go in order. It's getting late here in the Bronx. What did Yogi say? It gets late early here? Well, it's getting late now. Mike has a long home run in this game. It came off of the starter, Andy Pettitte. Pettitte went 6+, giving up 7 hits and 3 runs. Mendoza ready. Comes to that high set and misses with a slider. 1 ball, 1 strike to Piazza. Home run was Mike's 21st of the year.
And Mike looking down at John Stearns, there's only one thing they want Mike to do here. Hammer it.
One and 2.
Piazza against Mendoza. Bang! There's that home run Howie was talking about. He hit it a ton. And he was on the balls of his feet when he hit that one. He was on the balls of his feet when he hit the one tonight.
That game was a classic. Mets would win 9-8. Game that went back and forth, back and forth. And that Franco had the memorable game-winning hit. Scored Edgardo Alfonso with a winning run.
And I'll guarantee you Mendoza has not forgotten where he threw that ball to Piazza when he hit it 9 miles.
He's ahead of him here, 1 and 2.
Oh, boy.
Just off the outer edge, and the count even.
Posada with the target on the outside corner. You see Mike's first reaction as part of his body's going off the ball. If that ball's on the plate, he's not going to be able to handle it.
It'll be a 2-2 pitch to Piazza. Outside. So a decision for Bobby Valentine. You're 4 runs down here. You want to keep the inning going. The queuing is at first with 1 out. Will he be running on a 3-2 pitch?
A lot of times power hitters are distracted by a runner moving. And I'm sure Bobby is taking that in consideration.
He's going, and it's hit to Jeter at short. Might have been a double play, but Jeter will take the out at first as McEwing gets into second, but now there are 2 men away. That's why you run the base runner to stay out of the double play.
Now Mike Piazza, watch him pull off this ball. When he pulls off the ball, this opens up too soon. Now he throws his top hand over and he smothers the ball. When you smother the ball, you hit the ground ball, and that's what Mike did. A ground ball to short. See him pull off that ball? And he hits the ball to Jeter. McEwing on the move, reaches second base. Jeter flips to first to get Piazza, but when Mike hit that home run, he didn't pull off that ball. He had that real good compact swing.
Mazzilli positioning the outfielders as Zeal takes ball 1.
You could see throughout the whole bat, Mike Piazza was fighting himself to stay in there. And they were pitching him away. And at the end, consequently, he pulled off the ball and hit a ground ball to short.
Outfield a step to left against Zeal.
Okay, watch Mike Piazza at the plate. Now watch his body. His body is going to come off quickly. And when you do that, now you're reaching for the ball. When you reach for it, you throw that top hand over, you smother the ball, and he hit a ground ball to short. If you watch Mike, when he hits the ball the way Mike Piazza is used to hitting the ball, when he's got his good game going, he waits, and when he explodes, he's not pulling off the ball. That's why you try to pitch Mike Piazza in. But Mike should just put it in his mind, if they pitch me in good, because it's tough to stay inside with real good pitches. Okay, we're going to go back to the home run ball. Watch this. Now, see, the thing is, they go inside on him. You see the head, the arms extend, bang. He didn't open up too soon, but you saw Posada inside. The rest of the night, they pitched him away.
3-0 now to Zeal.
Mike should almost tell himself, let them jam me, because his strong suit since the day he came into major leagues is waiting on the ball. When he doesn't wait on the ball, he pulls off it.
Well, Mendoza behind Zeal here, 3-0 with McEwing at second and 2 out. Bayani, the on-deck hitter. That's a strike, 3-1. Zeal hitless tonight. Benny hoping for a chance here in the 8th. Mendoza just trying to get through his second inning. 7-3 Yankees with 2 gone. And again, a bouncer to Jeter. And the Mets are done in the 8th. They got the leadoff man on, but McEwing is stranded at second.
And your hot streak's long, because if a team is struggling or you lose a ball game and you got a streak hitter in the game and he's cold, there's an indelible impression on the mind of the manager. And you don't want that.
Well, the Yankees are on an 8-game winning streak, and Martinez is on an 8-game hitting streak.
Oh, he's been on fire.
He hit a home run yesterday. Up to 62 runs batted in now. And he hits this one pretty well to right field. Back goes McEwing. Warning track. Wall. It's gone. Number 17 for Tino Martinez. And the Yankees lead it 8-3.
It's one of those hot streaks, and he remains hot. They want Timo to step out for a curtain call.
They still want it, but he hasn't come yet. Here he comes. 2-0 now to Alfonso Soriano. You know, one of the reasons that Martinez apparently has gotten hot, given the timing, is that he was due to become a 10-5 man just a couple of weeks ago. He was sweating it out leading up to that. All that talk about the Yankees looking for more pitching as Soriano pops it up. Playable back behind first for Zeal. And that's the second out. You know, Martinez, who's been a part of this entire championship ride, he didn't want to lead, but once he got to 10-5, now he can veto any trade that might come along.
Well, ball is up, out over the plate. Timo hits that ball, extends the arms, and it's a home run for Timo Martinez, who is a popular figure here in New York. He's been popular ever since he came over from those Seattle Mariners. Another one of those good players that left the Mariners. And after all these guys leave, the Mariners are on fire.
I should explain that 10-5 thing, by the way. You see how hot Martinez has been lately. 10-5 rule stipulates that if you've been with the same team for the last 5 years and been in the majors for 10, then you have veto power over a prospective deal. So the Yankees can't trade Tino Martinez now without his permission. Second career pinch hit home run for Martinez. 1-2 now on Knobloch. And both have come this year. He hit his first just a couple of weeks ago, back on the 25th against the Indians. Turned out to be a game-winning home run. This one just adds a little cushion. Knobloch is gone. and the Yankees are done in the 8th inning. First strikeout for Wendell, but the Yankees tack one on as Tino Martinez gives one a ride.
It's been a wild ride so far. Your thoughts on the division right now?
On the division? Well, you know, I know where we are, and those are all my thoughts. I don't really care about the division other than the fact that, you know, we're going to play a few of these teams coming up, and I think we can measure up with them. You know, the Phillies have played well thus far. They have to pitch better, and Atlanta's been similar to our situation. Probably had 4 swing games where if we won them and they lost them, we'd have the same record right now. Florida's a very good young team, and Montreal is trying to put their pieces together.
Any major concern right now for you as manager of the Mets?
Well, just health, you know, trying to get you know, our players healthy so that they can get out there and do as well as they can. But I like the way things are coming. Our pitching, our defense, the way we're playing the game. Our bullpen are all very, very pleasing to the eye, and we have a chance of winning when those pieces are strong.
Traxel went out to the minor leagues, and he was struggling. Has he surprised you since he's come back?
Well, we signed him because we thought he'd be a good pitcher for us.
So he surprised early.
Yeah, I was surprised and disappointed early. I think he's throwing with more arm speed and more aggression, and, you know, has a good split, very good split. He's locating his fastball, which he wasn't doing earlier. And when you do that, you have a chance to win, and he's had a chance to win every game since he's been back, and we haven't scored enough runs for him to get a win. But if he keeps doing what he's doing now, he'll win plenty.
Now, we played many years ago.
Yeah, we did, 100 years ago.
For certain type of managers. Could those guys, with all due respect, could they manage today? Would they make the adjustments?
I don't know. Those guys, I played for an awful lot of them, you know, sort of can manage today, and Alvin Dark could probably manage today. I don't know, but you know, some of the guys are real rigid and didn't talk to the players very much, and you know, did the my way or the highway. I think that they'd have to make an adjustment. I
heard a story one time that Wes Western was managing the Mets, and a player went in, Jerry Grote, went into his office, said, I want to catch some more. And when Whitey Herzog told me a story, and Wes Western was livid over that. Doesn't it happen like 10 times a day today?
I want to catch more, I want to play more, I want to pitch more. Well, they don't come into the office necessarily, but you see them out on the field. I think there's more casual conversation now. You know, you used to have to get a time slot, schedule your appointment, go through a coach. Hey, is Walt available? Not today, see him tomorrow. Now you're really accessible to the guys all the time, so things don't fester as much.
Players better today than when you first started managing?
What do you mean, players?
Yeah. Are the players better
today?
Oh,
yeah, players are much better, absolutely.
Last question, why are they criticized by usually retired players as they weren't as good as we were?
Because you get better, the longer you don't play, the better you get, and the more you forget about, the bad things. But, players are without a doubt better today.
And I never struck out. It's always a pleasure. Bobby Valentine.
Man. Pleasure, bro.
Manager of the Mets. In his last at bat, Al Leiter tried to bunt the ball and popped out to the first baseman, Derek Lee.
Swings and hits it out to left center field. Diving forward, Wilson couldn't get it. That's going to roll all the way to the wall. Denny Agbayani scores, Ordonez scores. Can you believe this? A triple for Al Leiter.
Watch him run. Big Al. How about that? Al Leiter, a triple and 2 RBIs. And listen to this place.
Mets trailed 2-0, cut it to 2-1. Brewers added a run, but the Mets came up with 2 in the 6th. And that's where we are with New York, trying to break the tie here in the 7th.
Ooh.
Deep to left center, they just might. Back goes Echevarria, same for Mouton, and it's gone! A home run for McEwing, and the Mets have taken the lead, 4-3.
Strike count. Jay Payton, runner at first base. Acevedo got it in, down the line. Toca running. Pitch going to the corner. John Mabry to get it. Toca's coming to third. Being way pumped. Here's the relay throw. Castillo throw to the plate. Mets win.